Let me just start by saying that it was not through YouTube, at least. Lights and tripods.
More lights, sound, camera number 1.
Camera number 2, sound.
More lights, pretty fancy computer.
Camera number 3. Camera number 4. This stuff is for sure not for free, and some of you have been wondering how it's possible for me to afford the equipment, still traveling a bit, and paying for food, and just living a normal life. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I forgot something though. Look at this. I think that we need to go try it out, like right now. I can't say that this is the most beautiful location ever, but it will work. This is a pretty cool machine, and I forgot to bring the extra battery, so let's go home and talk about what we were actually going to talk about in this little video instead of flying drones. We'll do that another day. So, what do you want to know? Well, I thought I'd tell you about my business, or at least about what I've been doing since I was 18 years old. Because when I was 18, I registered my own business. I did all the necessary paperwork in order to be able to run my own small business. And since then, I've been doing small commissions, small missions, and increasingly, I've been doing bigger and bigger things. And this past spring has been pretty good. I managed to sell services for the value of 12,000 euros while still being a full-time student in engineering. So I thought I'd tell you a little about how I managed to build my freelance business. So when I started out, I had a little experience in still photography. I used to play with my parents' camera, and then when I was 16, I think, I got my first own DSLR. 16 or 17, I got my first pre-used DSLR for my birthday present. And so when I was 18, I did a couple of small gigs. I took pictures at someone's parents' 40th birthday for like 50 euros. And small things like that. And increasingly, I got more experience. I also, when I was in senior high school, I started my own school magazine, which gave me all the experience that I now have, or like at least the foundation to how to do layout. So I started the little school magazine there, and I found some people who helped me, and we were a really fun little gang, but it was nobody else who knew how to do layout, so I simply had to learn how to do it myself. And from that, I started doing more layout, and eventually I also got commissions to do in in the field of layout. I got to do a member magazine for a small non-profit organization. I got more and more experience until I'm at where I am right now. And the funny thing is, listen now, I don't even think that I'm especially talented when it comes to what I'm doing. But I have a couple of other strengths. And that's something, I mean, you don't have to be the best ever as long as you deliver what the customer wants. So, I have a couple of advices. 3 to be exact. First, if you want to run your own little business, of course, first you need to find out what do you have to offer that somebody might be willing to pay for. And after you know that, don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to tell people that you're trying to start a business, and don't be afraid to spread your little web, spread your nets, tell all your friends and whatever contacts that you are looking for missions in the field. And it might be, I mean, depending on what you want. I have chosen to be in a field where it's possible to get corporate or business customers. And for me, I think that it's very helpful because, at least in the field that I am in, I think that business customers, they pay more and they have bigger missions and they are easier to work with. Okay, anyway, advice number 2 is don't promise too much. What I said earlier, I don't think I'm the best, most creative, most perfect person when it comes to graphic design and layout and whatever I do, but anything that I promise to do, I make sure that that happens. And I make sure to have the equipment or the skills to do what I promise to do. And I think that's super important because if you do something well, you might get 1 or 2 or 3 new customers from somebody recommending you to others. That's how I get all of my customers, basically. And if it doesn't go well, then it's the reverse. Then people will tell others how disappointed they were with you. So don't promise too much. My 3rd recommendation, and that's one of my strengths and one of the things that I think I'm good at, and one of the reasons why I think that people like to buy my services is that I make it easy for the customer. I try to understand what they are after. I try to do a little bit extra research to understand their field, so I don't have to ask everything. I try to draw some own conclusions. And I always try to be really fast because I know myself, if I buy a service from someone or from a company, I want them to deliver fast. That's always a bonus. Even if you have a lot of time to deliver something, to deliver it faster than you promised is always appreciated. Make it easy for the customer, in other words. And a bonus advice. Something that you might hear from people when they talk about what I'm talking to you about right now is that you should never work for free. That's a truth with some modification. The problem is that when you're starting out, you need experience and you might need to do your first missions for free. Or maybe you can be active in a non-profit organization working for them. Or, I mean, you need some way of getting experience. You might need to do your first missions for free or do them really cheap. Of course, that has to be during a limited time, but I mean, I would say that it's worth it. I mean, at least for me. At least if, as for me, I don't have any diploma or a formal education. If you have that, probably it's another deal. But if you don't, maybe you have to do a couple of cheap missions to just get experience, to get references and to start out. As said, Total earnings during spring 2018, 12,000 euros. Not bad. So let's look at what I used those money for. Why don't you come over here? Oops. So first, goods. I mean, buying things that were resold. Then we have a big chunk of about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 of equipment. This, about 10,000 was for the interview project, specific things that I needed for that project. I'm mixing up Swedish crowns and euros. About 1,000 euros was for the interview project. About 2,500 just mixed. About 200 or 300 for repairs. And about 1,000 euros was for the sound box. The little speaker thingy that some of you have seen at festivals around Europe this summer. I'm renting that thing around the year, so hopefully that will make a profit for the company. Then we had a little, like 500 euros music equipment. And then about 2,000 euros for traveling. About 2/3 of that was also for the interview project. So like plane tickets, bus tickets, and hotel costs, whatever. Then I also paid about 500-600 for other services. And then about 600 euros for softwares. And the last 2,000 euros, 200 euros, 2,000 euros, 2,000 euros. The last 2,000 euros, went to me. The last 2,000 euros, that's the money that I spent during summer. I mean, money that is simply took out of the business to pay for food or whatever to live. And now I can see that I totally mixed it up. I earned 12,000 euros during spring. I hope you understand this. I'm terrible. So in case I didn't already tell you, about 95% of this came from me doing freelance business in the field of graphic design, layout, and also some project management. And then some of you might be saying, so what about YouTube then? Well, this is YouTube earnings so far this year, 383 euros. I mean, it's money and I appreciate it, but I mean, it's kind of apparent that I spent way more money on the actual channel than I earned from YouTube. But then some of you might say, but what about the Patreon campaign thingy? If you earn this much money from doing freelance business, why do you even need the Patreon thingy? Well, I have an answer to that. And that is that, I mean, the more I work with these other business thingies, the less time I have to work with YouTube. And well, considering how busy I am in school and stuff like that, it's just another way to help me fund the actual YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is far from profitable, and I'm losing money I'm losing money from running it. But it's fun, so it doesn't really hurt that much. But I'm very happy for those who actually support the channel on Patreon. So from starting the Patreon campaign last autumn to now, we made about $1,400. That's good. But I spent also about $1,000 directly, more or less directly connected to running the Patreon campaign. I mean, to produce the reward, for postage, for the people who are doing graphic design for me, for those products that we have in the rewards, and stuff like that. So actual earnings has not, I mean, I have not earned that much from it. 110,000 views. 110,000 views means $383. Yeah. So 1 view is not much. I think that's about it. If you have any questions about my business or business in general or whatever, feel free to ask them in the comment section. I can't say that I'm a professional in any way, but I'm doing my best. So thank you again. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you around soon. If you like this video, consider subscribing or even supporting the channel if you want to. Bye.